Good morning, Joe. What's going on, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, good. I gotta mess with my audio. I feel like I'm yelling here. I can't hear myself. 1 second.
You sound good to me. How
Well,
about everybody else out there? Good morning.
I need to
Good to have a
sound.
group here. Yeah, we got a good group this morning.
Yeah, I want to sound good to me. You know what I mean? All right.
Of
Yeah. Well,
course.
it says I'm kicking. Here we go. Yeah.
Welcome to Proper Cup of Joe, everybody. This is the podcast that we Adam has reptiles and I don't. I have a lot of questions, and that's what we talk about. You know what I mean?
And a little entrepreneurship, life, life choices. How, for example, how did I end up at 6:30 every Thursday morning in a basement talking with my buddy in Tampa?
It's definitely a life choice, you know.
It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. What
Man.
a lifestyle. How was your week, man? Did you have a nice week? It's good to be up on a Thursday morning, getting going, and having a group of people too that we can just mess around with. And I got to say, after last week's episode, it was just like it was a very lively chat, and it's just awesome to hang out. And we might be the talking heads, but the chat is really where it's at, I think.
That's true. That's true. It's the oil in the engine. Like, we got to be the gas, but you need the oil for things to really, really crank them on.
I feel like there's a song in this somewhere. I mean, even the way that we're talking is very like Southern country. We might be the talking heads, but the chat is where it's at.
Yeah, living out our broken rock and roll dreams in a morning pod. Okay, enough of that. Yeah, I don't know. The week was good. I always say it. It's just busy, just trying to catch up, to keep up. There's this. I don't know if it's like a business model or just a life choices, or me personally. Like I realized this when in my restaurant days. Maybe I was just so conditioned and scarred for it, but like I live this, like, if I'm not sort of on the edge of overworked or panic or anxious, I feel like something's wrong. Like, I feel like I'm wasting time, or I'm not maximizing what I should be going after if I'm not feeling like a little bit of terror, or a little bit of like, I have to get more done. And so I just put myself in these not dumb situations, there's just a lot. And there's none of it's really exciting this week. There's a whole bunch of hatchlings that I've got to get identified and entered into the system so that I can sell them. I want to market more. I want to film another YouTube video. So it's just staying busy. I got to go to FedEx and ship. They're all good things. This is all like nothing but complaining about a wonderful privilege, but it's been busy. That's all.
So you got some hatchlings, right? So how long does it take for them to get to market? Is it like the next year you can sell them, or is it like a couple of years?
Oh, it's a few weeks or a month and a half.
Okay. You don't have to make that face, Adam. You don't have to, like, I'm a dumb, stupid person. I don't have snakes. That's the point of the show here.
That's true. That face made me feel like I've dropped the ball, if that's a question that you're still asking. So
no, it's a question I'm still asking, because I am stupid, and that's why. Because
I want. Should we do just like a weekly like car wash segment? Has that become part of our vernacular? We'll swing back to it. So the hatchlings, Joe, they pip. They believe it or not, they have a little egg tooth on their snout. And
okay, now we've been doing this for 2 years. I've never heard pip or egg tooth.
Wow.
The whole time. So maybe it is you that's dropping.
This is probably me dropping the ball. So when they break through their egg, it's called pipping. And in order to break through their egg, they had this little egg tooth on their snout or somewhere. I don't know. A doctor in the audience can clarify that. But they cut through their egg from the inside. they pop out, but we call it pipping. I don't know why. And they pip. And it's kind of neat to see, because, dare I say cute. They just sit there with their little head sticking out of the egg. So you have a pile of eggs with these snakes just looking up at the world.
Yeah, no, why you call it pipping and not popping? Pipping is a cuter word than popping.
That's true.
So if it's a cute thing that takes place, then you gotta come up with a cute word.
Yeah, I think it was Josh Jensen that started it, but there's a little meme in the hobby that says "Pippin ain't easy." That's a little hip hop throwback right there. Okay, which I'm also known for.
The cleverness of the names and everything never ceases to amaze me in this community, I tell you.
Yeah. So so then they pip. It'll take another few days. They'll crawl out of the egg. Then it's another about 10 days that they shed, and we leave them in these egg boxes in the incubator that whole time. After they all shed, after they've been in the incubator for, still hanging out in their box, then we set them up in individual tubs usually, but whatever their enclosures are, and then they get their first meals. Then they got to have like 5 meals, get up to 100 grams. Then they're ready to sell. So the babies, I honestly feed, I probably offer them food every 4 or 5 days versus waiting a week, but it's about 5 weeks after you take them from the incubator. So from the day of the pip till when they're ready for market, well, it would be 5 weeks plus 2, about 7 weeks. They're going to be ready.
Okay, 7 weeks, and then you're out, and then they're good to go. The people are, and then what is the best age that people are looking for? Like, is it that age, or is it 1 to 2 years, or
that one's what they're looking for is the cutest, littlest ball python that they think they can fall in love with,
okay.
which is a little bit dangerous because sometimes they're not as well established. Sometimes sellers want to take the money before they're ready. All of those sort of ethical things. If somebody were to ask me what's the perfect age or readiness for a ball python for a first-time pet owner, I love a first-time pet owner to get a yearling. It's really well established. Okay. It's really hardy. The animal could, not that it should, but the animal could go a month or 2 without eating while the new owner figures out, just getting everything right. And that's what makes them good pets, is that they're an attainable. Your lighting is fantastic. That is something, Joe. You got.
I know this is the second week in a row. It's like this. I should.
It's all right.
But continue.
I wouldn't say all you could do. You could turn down sales if somebody's clearly not ready to own a ball python. They shouldn't be sold to snake. But vetting customers is challenging, and frankly can be. You never really know. So you want to give them as much information as possible. That's why I like having the website, the care sheet that I wrote myself, videos on there. You deal with it a lot. I was dealing with a customer. It was 8:30 last night. Somebody was texting me and I was like, how big is your enclosure? It's 50 gallons. That's pretty big for a hatchling. Check out the care sheet. As I've suggested, here's this. Okay. I don't think it's the size of the enclosure. All right. Well, that's my suggestion, but I'll hear you out. Tell me about your heat. Oh, well, my bulb's intermittent. It's only about 72 degrees. Okay, that's too cold. Your snake is going to get a respiratory infection. It will die, and it will not be able to digest its food. I hate to be tough on you, but I want a happy snake or a happy pet owner and a healthy snake. You need to get X, Y, and Z done. Here's another video about doing that. So that's where you got to have a strong hand, but also give honest feedback and honest.
This is why you tune in to show. This is why it's worth tuning into this show. This is why it's worth hanging out with Adam. You ask, a simple question, and you get 8 answers. So it's great. It's fantastic. So
you didn't know if it was a simple question. Then you berated me for not telling you the answer. So I'm trying to give you all the answers. Okay.
This is the reason why I don't remember stuff, because I tuned out 7 answers.
That's ago. Okay. Fine. Now, you know what, Joe? Thank you, Professor. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm going to remember that when you vent about your students not paying attention or you can't connect with them or they're using AI. All right. Hey, before I forget, guys, tonight, 6:30 Central Time on Supreme Gecko YouTube channel, I'll be the guest on Wally and Nanette's show. Going to delve into the gecko world. I think we're going to talk Palm Street tonight. So it's going to be.
You're going to talk what?
Palm Street.
Palm Street. Nice.
Yeah. They do bring Proper Royals Live content ad-free these days.
That's great. Yes. And of course, all of our other sponsors that we'll talk about in a minute. But what about your week? What's your one thing that you just need to talk about this week? Do we
need like a collective vote? Do we need, is it, I don't want to make this about me. Do we need the update on like a weekly like car wash story, or do we not need that? Is that just too much Adam?
Well, you've got a car wash story this week. I'd like to hear it. Like, okay, maybe we don't make it a weekly thing, but that car wash story that you had about the guy cleaning out the inside of his car, that was very interesting. We could have made a whole show about that.
I think we did, but yeah, we could have though. I never figured out more. I've told the story several times during the week. The general consensus outside of a murder, and he seemed pretty calm for a murder, was there had to be a very high level of frustration to be willing to spray the inside of your car. So I'm really thinking like a skunk got a dog and the dog got in there. Or the other best thing I could come up with, and I think I said it on the show, was that he was ordered to return a vehicle, perhaps in a divorce or maybe he was getting repossessed. Somehow he was ordered to have it cleaned inside and out. And he was like, "Oh, you want a clean car? You'll get a clean car." And I think that's it. I think that's where it went. But anyhow, yesterday, I feel like there's a lesson in here somewhere, but I'm not 100% sure what it is. So when it's cold, look at this guy. Chris, you must be feeling peppy, throwing around some cash, man.
Come on, man. That's great, Chris.
Well, he's celebrating going to rehab, and not that kind of rehab, but PT, physical therapy, rehabilitation, convalescence home. Give us the update. I know that you're alive. Where are you at, man? What are you doing? Thank you, brother.
Yeah, let us know. Thanks, Chris.
So it's the time of year. I'm heating the place, and I put up these nice signs. They're very cute. They have Lucy on them. Lucy's a little cartoon dog. She's wearing her Minnesota Vikings sweater, and the picture says, "It's cold. Keep the doors shut so I can keep the prices low for you." And then there's other little reminders. So I'm looking on the security camera, and this guy has his truck in there with the garage door open. And I'm like, all right, it's kind of warm. It's not really freezing. If he's quick in and out, I don't care. So then, 20 minutes later, I look on the security camera. He's there with his hood open. And I think for a minute that he's changing his oil in my car wash. And I'm like, red alert. I'm like, absolutely not. I'm about to lay into this dude. And I look, and he's got some gadget under the hood. And so I go, but I'm waiting on rodent customers to come too. So now I'm juggling customers, which is also a great problem. But I look under his truck from behind. He doesn't even notice me looking. He's not draining oil. I said, okay, whatever. I go back, take care of the customer, get their rodent order. They're gone. He still got it open. So now he's been like 45 minutes, hood up, garage door up, heat totally gone. Hasn't spent more than $3 in 45 minutes. He's taking up the space. I go to the man. I said, "Sir, can I help you? What do you got going on here?" And he is the most foul-mouthed, like awkward old man, just, and I got a mouth on me. I know that I play a really pretty good guy in person on the show here, but I can let loose. This guy is like, and like sprinkled in with some old man, what would you put? Old man homophobia and racism in like his cursing along the way.
And is it directed at you?
No, just like,
just
he's
general.
No, well, his truck, imagine this as some slur that you could throw out there in anger, and he's calling his truck this, or the little, or the little gadget that he's trying to jump his truck with. Turns out,
truck likes other types of trucks, gendered types of trucks,
perhaps performs. Never mind, I'll leave that be. So then, okay, so. And I'm like, sir, so your battery's dead? And he's like, yeah, I called my buddy. He's coming to help me. And I said, listen, let me ask you something. Oh, and by the way, on the security footage, I'm watching him. He's like chain smoking cigarettes, just throwing the cigarette butts on the floor of my car wash. So I said, hey, you know what? I do have jumper cables. I'm going to help you out. But while we're waiting for your buddy, can we close this door here? Because it's, I'm losing my heat. He's like, oh, I didn't know. I was like, I did put the 3 signs out front that you drove by, but that's okay. I'm going to help you pull these down. And then I said, also, I got to ask, could you pick up your cigarette butts? I got to tell you, you're not being a very good guest in this establishment by throwing cigarettes on the floor. And I could tell he was getting a little annoyed with being admonished by me, but he also knew that I was right. And he was like, I'm sorry about that, which was nice. And I said, I'm not trying to berate you, but somebody does have to clean those up, and I'm the guy that has to clean those up. I only charge you $1.50 a wash. You could clean up your cigarette butts. He says, I'm sorry, I'll clean them up. I said, okay, I'm going to go get my jumper cables for you. I'm out front getting the jumper cables, pulls up another pickup truck, and a guy goes, you helping Gary? And I said, well, I don't know his name, but yeah, the guy that needs a jump. He's like, okay, well, I don't see him. Where's he at? And I said, well, he's in the second bay. I closed the door. And he's like, the guy goes, who the F are you? To me. So like these are some angry old dudes, And I said,
a rough life up there.
I know. I said, I'm the guy that owns the place. And he's like, oh, well, Gary called me to help him. And I'm like, you can help. You help him. And he goes, does he need jumper cables? I said, yeah. And I'm holding the jumper cables in my hand. And I said, yeah. He goes, well, I didn't bring any. I was like, okay, so we're going to help him. And I said, pull up your truck there. And Gary's like, we got to get a chain. Somebody's got to take me to the house. We're going to pull this truck out of here. I said, can you put it in neutral? We'll just push it out. And he was like, we could try. And like, I pushed it. It's like, anyway,
what's happening to these men in that little town there?
I feel like I don't know. I just feel like I attract like really wild scenarios in my life. So I don't know what happened to the guy last week with his GMC Arcadia, but this week was the really like ferociously cussing angry old man with his buddy who wanted to interrogate me. We got his truck jumped, and I thanked him for his business and for closing the door and keeping his cigarette butts off the floor. So,
do you think there'll be returning customers? Number one, and number two, do you care?
I actually, yes to both. I do think that they will. I think that there's a little bit of an appreciation. I could be wrong. This is totally in my head, maybe. I think that there's a little bit of an appreciation for the art of a tough conversation where you could still not go overboard, where you could deliver, like I didn't try and fight the guy. I just pointed out clearly, you don't just throw cigarette butts around another person's garage. That's not cool. Okay, out you go. So, oh my gosh. Yeah. Troy, this is a great point. I absolutely would. I might get murdered sharing some of the things, but it would be incredibly popular. And like, I've been told by Joe that I'm pretty entertaining when I'm mad.
It's the funniest thing when I think it's so funny when you get riled up about stuff. It's hilarious.
I
should rile you up more. That's what I've learned this morning, is that this is good content when you get upset about stuff. I mean, the funniest part of that story to me is the guy going, who the F are you? And he's saying that to me. You go,
yeah, like I own the place and I'm helping your friend. And I'm actually trying to be constructive in a conversation with you about your friend that we're both now helping after he's wasted my heat and thrown his cigarettes all over my garage. So like, anyway, that's the week in the car wash.
That's the week in the car wash. Well,
Yeah.
and if you don't know and you're listening for the first time, that's where Adam kind of ingeniously, yeah, I would say ingeniously, bought a car wash, turned a bay or a bay into his facility for raising his snakes.
That's correct. That's correct. That's it. I don't know about the ingenious part, but the rest is correct. Joe, I've been running my yapper. What's your one thing? And then I'll circle back on mine.
Well, I mean, we don't. The main thing that I'm really happy about is that I've mentioned my stepson on this show a few times, and I've mentioned that he kicks and everything. So he's gotten 2 offers so far, 2 offers to play.
Excellent.
And I'm just like super happy about it. Now, I think it's going to be a while before he decides where he wants to go. And these places are, they're small places, but my goodness, I mean, I'm just really happy that he'll get to play in college. So yeah, I'm just like super stoked about it. So and we've only just begun like sending out his video and his contact and everything. So I'm just really, really happy about it.
That's really cool. Congratulations from a parental standpoint, and also congratulations for Aiden as well. Let me ask you this, and you might not be able to share any of it. And I'm not looking for anyway. Is there going to be like a scholarship involved? Is there going to be
yeah, for one of them,
okay.
Of them. The other one is he was just offered a spot on the roster, and it's a junior college that helps players like kind of get into the next level.
I was going to say, just getting into the machine these days is just all it takes, man. Just get into the machine. As the Macho Man says, the cream will rise if if he's producing, man.
So it's like even the last kicker that was on that team, he's gotten a spot. That's why they need somebody in that place. And I mean, we've looked at the last kicker that was there, and we feel like, Aiden could definitely have competed with him. And so we're just, I'm just great. I'm just really excited about it. So, and it's been a lot of work to try and figure out the system,
right?
What we need to do and how to get things together, and then and then not knowing if we're doing the right thing, and then vultures coming in and trying to say, we can do this if you give us $5,000, and we're like, we're just doing the same things that you're doing. So we're kind of going it alone, which is, as a parent, you want to give everything that you can to your child. And, but you have to make those hard decisions where it's like, maybe this is a good decision, but it's going to cost a whole lot. And we're just kind of doing, or they're going to be doing, we're doing the same things that they're doing. So why don't we just do it ourselves? And then you second guess that. So it's very stressful. Chelsea's been doing a lot of work at this point with getting everything together. So kudos to her. And I'm excited that there's just this interest like right away. And we've been told it's going to be, spring until teams start offering things to kickers, because what they're looking at right now is QBs and
quarterbacks. There's a couple people. Yeah, I got you. That's sorry, I didn't mean to laugh, but there's a reality to life in that matter. But that's amazing. I was going to ask when is the timeline? What's the deadline? When do you make those tough decisions?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think each school is going to have their own timeline for us. So we just have to, weigh them and go. Neither school has given us a hard date of like when they need to know. But I mean, he's still got like national showcases that he needs to go to. And we'll be doing that in December twice. So that's going to be, we're going to get past that. One place that was this junior college is up in Buffalo, New York. So, and we're visiting there in December. Like we're going there. We're going up to Niagara on the Lake for New Year's Eve. Chelsea and I, and Aiden's going to come with us for the first few days, and so we're going to stop by and like visit one of the places. There's a few places that he's looking at up there. So yeah.
That is cool. I think it was maybe 3 weeks ago now, Joe. I don't know if you saw, and I think it was Mission Morphs. I lose track of everybody's handle. That mentioned that they had gone through that process and that you all could connect as well. And if it wasn't them who commented 3 weeks ago, they are commenting now for sure. So that is, to Troy's point, I think. Kickers get a rough deal sort of in the public perception, but they're like bass players in a band. Like a good kicker will always have a gig, man. Like who's the guy from Minnesota? I think Morton Anderson. I think he was kicking till he's damn near 50. Like he retired like every year. And then by the 7th week of the season, some team was called. I mean, he played for like 19 teams or something. Not that many, but
even the Bills guy right now, Matt Prater, who's I've been told he's got like the best kicking form in the league. He's I think 42.
Yeah.
And so you've got to have a good one on your team. You got to have somebody who can kick in the clutch too. So I mean.
By the way,
I don't know. I'm just excited for him.
By the way, Aiden blasting the 55-yarder in the hype video, pretty cool, man. That's cool. 55 yards, that's serious stuff, man. That's cool.
Yeah. And he even it's the big. I mean, what they're looking for is consistency within 35 yards, and he's got that. He can do that really easily. And then, he's got this big leg that if they need it, it's there.
There we go. It was Mission Morph. So very cool. That's a cool thing about this community. There, you
thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Yes, and I will. If we get into a bind where we need some advice, I'll reach out to you. Thanks, man.
So Joe, mine is a little more not as exciting or certainly not as fun. And I have to say he passed away this week. But there was a musician named Todd Snyder that I'm a massive fan of. He was 59. He's a songwriter he's from Seattle and then moved to Texas and then recently resided in Nashville. And I always loved Todd Snyder because of his songwriting and wit and storytelling ability and like a total like sort of troubadour mindset where he generally played solo, but he would have these band projects or he would join these other like super groups for an album project. But then he always went back to him with a guitar on stage connecting to an audience. And he wrote great songs. And I always cover maybe 2 or 3 of his songs in my set. And they're like dead ringers for songs that people can connect with. But they've not heard the song before. So inevitably somebody would be like, did you write that? And I'm like, I wish I wrote that, man. And then I would be able to tell somebody about Todd Snyder, who was, he hadn't toured since like 2022, put out a new album, was just about to, actually he had kicked off his tour. And the thing that I hate about it is like, he's widely regarded as just a hell of a great person to be around, really fun. And the last headlines were of him. He got assaulted of some kind of way on tour. His band abandoned him. He ended up being arrested for trying to get treatment at a hospital, being told to leave. They told him he was trespassing. He's like, I need help. And so like, there's like body cam footage of somebody at their worst and their like darkest moments. That I fear is what he's going to be remembered for. He returns back to Nashville after settling, bail or whatever. Turns out he did need treatment. Checks into a hospital just in Nashville, and within 10 days he passed away.
Wow, I didn't hear this. Wow.
So it was I didn't, and I'm frustrated because there was so many times I said, man, I'm going to go see that guy and I want to figure out how to meet him or interact with him or whatever. And I never did. I usually I just took for granted that I'd be able to go see him, and I didn't. And then I'm really like, that's a selfish, like, oh, that'd be neat for me. But what I'm really frustrated at is like, he's really prolific. He was 59. Like if say that, say you live a tough life as a musician and you make it to 72, there's like another 13 years of music that he was going to give to the world. And it's not there. So anyway, crank up some Todd Snyder.
What's his sound like?
It's that category they just call Americana. So I mean, it's John Prine, it's rock and roll. Some people say it's a little bit country. It's just a dude with a guitar telling he's so witty, like incredibly engaging, witty stories. And he's known for like his shows, he might only play like 12 or 14 songs, but just absolutely hilarious, relatable, I would say sort of down to earth, but some of it is also like there's a story, and I won't tell it properly, but there's a story where I guess he wrote a song called Beer Run, and then another guy in Nashville wrote a song called Beer Run. And he said he was at the Grammys or the ACAs or something. And he goes up to this guy and he's like, oh, you wrote that song Beer Run? And the guy was like, yeah. He goes, yeah, well, I wrote that song too. And the guy says, well, you know how copyrights work. You get 4 words before you have to give credit to somebody else. And he's like, what? He's like, yeah. And so this guy also wrote a hit for Garth Brooks called If Tomorrow Never Comes. And he's like, okay, I'm going to write a whole album side of songs that you wrote, but that you didn't write. So he wrote just to spite this other dude.
Jeez.
Yeah. I mean, that, how creative, if your tool and if your weapon is your words and music, forget lawsuits and all that. He just sat down and wrote songs and showed them up, and then tells the stories of it using, that was kind of how he looked at things and how, just kind of the wit and how he goes through life. And so anyway, he's gone.
Sounds cool. I got to look him up. Would it be stuff that I would know, you think, or the average person would pick up on?
No, I don't know. I don't think so. It's certainly not like radio play stuff, but he's super prolific, massive following. If people in a certain scene, so he did a super group project with some guys from Widespread Panic, some guys from Nashville. They recorded at Bob Weir's studio, who's from the Grateful Dead. So there's a little bit of that, but this guy kind of transcended genres too, which is the other thing that I really love. And
cool.
You would see him and all the tributes that were pouring through the Instagram feed this week of people you would know who are like, hey, this one time Todd took us out on tour 20 years ago. Hey, this one time I was playing at the Opry and Todd was the opening or the support act. And it was all this almost like Forrest Gump stuff. Oh, Todd was there. Oh, he got this guy started. Oh, he mentored so-and-so. What's his name? Jack Johnson, that guy. He put out a tribute to him. He's like, yeah, we actually never met, but he just started texting me one day. And he's like, we seemed like these unlikely friends. And we ended up switching lyrics and working on songs like Jack Johnson in Hawaii and him in Nashville. And you just go that's just a cool thing. So, yeah. Anyway, I appreciate his music and I don't know why it just kind of hit me, but I really, really like his music. And it was always, I found it attainable and inspiring, but cleverly simple where you think, oh, I got this. And you're like, I don't have a bit of this. That's the beauty in good stuff. I'm not putting the words exactly right, but anyway,
no, I know what you're saying. Yes. Yeah.
So when somebody could pull off something that on the surface seems so simple, and then you go, you try and do it, you're like, oh, now I see why it's a beautiful thing. So anyway, go play some Jack John, or go play some Todd Snyder and crank it up a little bit.
When you are working in the lab, do you listen to music?
Yeah, so I'm not snobby about a whole lot of things, but I love good speakers, man. So I got Sonos in at the lab. I like that. I got Sonos in the car wash, and you could control it from here. And then I have the Sirius XM radio and the Sonos app. So yeah, there's a channel on Sirius XM called Little Steven's Underground Garage, which I really like that. Oddly enough, they don't play Todd Snyder on there. But that's usually what I listen to. I also will listen to quite a bit of ESPN talk radio, both because I like sports, but also it's a little bit of a studying my craft. Like I like picking up little things that they do while they're talking where I'm like, oh, I'm going to use that kind of thing. So, and there's, for instance, there's a little bit of overlap. Like there's a guy, Clinton Yates is his name, and he calls his audience the ball knowing community, a pun on all knowing. Little does he know, I deal in ball pythons. I got a little podcast where I talk into a microphone too. That we might call this audience the ball knowing community.
The ball knowing community. That's right. Cool. That's good.
Yeah.
That's
so
good.
Little things you can steal. So, but then I can just be like, hey, I'm in the mood for Todd Snyder, and you can go to Amazon Music and just put in whatever you want and fire it up. And I do that sometimes too.
We've got a few people who are helping us out, keeping this thing going. Should we talk about them a little bit?
Yeah.
Get to our main topic.
That's right. Up at the top there, that is Heart of the Python. If you see the heart-shaped python, that's how you're going to remember their name. It's Heart of the Python. And that is Bill and Kate Peaver up in Massachusetts. They are breeders. They're really active people in our community. Check out some of their Ultramel and Sunset projects. Family operation, great people to interact with. I met them through some Patreons and then met them in person at Tinley, and we kind of hit it off. And they're just good people to do business with, which is really like all I ever just want to do business with. So go check out Bill and Kate Peaver. Like I say, doing really nice stuff, making some pretty sweet investments as well. And they vend nationally. I mean, as far certainly as St. Louis, and maybe they'll be in St. Louis coming up here, but they definitely were just in down in Nashville vending. And like I say, they're in the Massachusetts region. So check them out. Heart of the Python. You find them in all the usual places, active on Instagram. You can see their inventory on Morph Market. And they're doing a cool initiative called their Heartline line of ball pythons, which is really designed for first-time keepers. They're breeding for behavior, handleability. What's the right word that I'm looking for? What would you say, Joe? Like a sweetness? Traits, kindness, and that sort of thing that are good for everyday pet owners. And I think that's really cool that they're putting that effort into what they're doing, and they're doing it through lineage and selective breeding and all of that. So go check out Heart of the Python. Of course, how are you going to keep everything in order, Joe, in your big snake room? You're going to do it with Husbandry.
That's
Pro,
Husbandry.pro.
Right? Yeah.
Husbandry.pro, everyone.
Wally helping me out on the promo. Yeah, disposition. They're breeding for disposition. Husbandry.pro is how I keep everything organized. I track. I said earlier, I got like 40 hatchlings that I've got a temperament. There we go. All the different words.
That's your word. You like the word temperament.
Temperament. Yes. That's temperament. A good one there. Temperament and disposition. So Husbandry.pro, that's where I enter all the hatchlings. I keep track of their genetics. I keep track of their genealogy, their historical breeding information, when they eat, when they're ready to sell, how much they're ready to sell for. All of it is there in Husbandry.pro. I could provide QR codes for customers. I could transfer the information to customers. Today's also pairing day, Joe. Get to turn the lights down low in the snake room, if you know what I'm saying. It's that time of year. That's right, man. And I track that in Husbandry.pro too. Last but not least, Joe, I did it just for you. I cracked open a bag of cold-blooded cafe, frozen rodents, thawed one out, smelled it. It was so fresh, so clean, as our newly inducted Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees, Outcast would say. Man,
so fresh, so clean. Yeah.
That's the one. Check out the reel, though.
They were talking about rodents, weren't they?
Oh, definitely rodents from Cold Blooded Cafe is what they were speaking of. That is true. And also, audience, if you use the promo code Proper11, you're going to get free shipping on orders over $200 from Cold Blooded Cafe. That doesn't expire either. That is just a gift that keeps on giving for you guys. So check those out. I got to actually give a real thanks. Actually, I need to send an email. November is 4 years since I've been first started working with Cold Blooded Cafe. And Joe, you may or may not know, after a vending in Tampa gig, I was in your guest room and I was not annoyed. I was really motivated that I needed to find a sponsor. And I was like, I don't want to just take a check. Like, who do I want to work with? And I went and I typed up and I created the pitch for Cold Blooded Cafe in your guest room when you would put me up at your house.
Yes.
In Tampa. And they said yes.
In a wine-brained stupor, you did that.
You could leave that detail out. I don't know that that's true. I don't know why you would even say that, but then you're going to say that's how every night when Adam is over ends up. So it's kind of no. Like I would say, wine-driven confidence.
Yes, that can happen too. Yes,
yeah. So hey guys, these are all companies and brands that support this industry. They come to you. We get to come to you ad-free for their support. Take care of them. Take a look at them. The least you could do is go check out what they're offering and consider it. And of course, Palm Street, and I'll be on Supreme Gecko this evening, 6:30 Central Time with Wally and Nanette. And we're going to dive into Palm Street and how that fits into my business model tonight. I believe that's the topic.
Awesome. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Now, you were talking about, you used a particular word.
Yeah.
And we only have 15 minutes left for our main topic. That means we're having fun. We're having fun.
That's right. We are having fun, but that means we got to hit it hard. No, this is going to be all killer, no filler from here out, man.
I think the word was bombacity. You got something to talk about? Bombastic.
Bombastic. That's the one. So I probably get overly sensitive about things that are close to my heart. One of which being not only restaurants, but the restaurant community. So let's take Gordon Ramsay, for example. Gordon Ramsay, very talented, accomplished chef. He knows what he's doing, makes a fortune on this caricature of, throwing pans across the kitchen, calling people donkeys. And it's been 20 years. What are you mad about? What are you laughing about? Me being mad? Is that what you're laughing about?
No. I'm laughing. I used to watch that Hell's Kitchen show.
Right.
With Gordon Ramsay, because it was funny the way he just acted.
Yeah.
And it made me, it was just fun. I liked it. Like if there was undercooked scallops, he'd just go, just touch it. This is terrible. Just touch it.
Well,
and it's like it was bad.
Just touch it is fine. Picking up the scallop and throwing it across the kitchen or at somebody is not fine. And like, here's the my main point is I get that stuff sells in its own little vacuum. What I don't like is that people misperceive that represents something. And then what I really don't like is that people maybe aspire to get into that trade and think that that's how you should behave or be expected to behave. And Troy brings up an excellent point here. So if you were to watch Gordon Ramsay's BBC versions of his show, there's none of that. It's exactly what Troy just said. Very nice, very gregarious, very wants to save these restaurants or pubs or bars and does amazing things. And that to me is probably who he is. But there's this character that he gets paid to play for the American audience. And now in my career, I'm dealing with chefs who think that's what we have to yell at each other. Like even his kitchen operations are just set up for TV. That's really not how a kitchen operates. You don't just have 4 menus or 4 items on the menu and one person cooking one component. It's not really how it works. There are stations and that stuff, but I didn't come to give a lecture on restaurant setups. The point being, these experts, these well-respected sort of pillars, they get turned into these bombastic caricatures, and they think that or people start to think that that represents a community. And I see it a lot in ball pythons, where we fling, poo at each other like rabid monkeys. And then we wonder why we're perceived in a negative way. And I guess now I'm participating in that, because now I'm playing this holier than thou, giving lectures of how people should behave. And I'll give you one more example. I really love Shark Tank. I think it's great. I think it's inspiring from an entrepreneurial standpoint. I think it's not that realistic of how the world of investment probably works, but I still find it inspiring, and I learn a lot from the sharks' feedback. And then in the middle of it, you got Kevin O'Leary, who's just flinging bombs at people, calling them, cockroaches or whatever. And it's that same like bombastic thing. And if you watch at the very beginning, if you go back to the original episodes, that wasn't him. And he's become this caricature. And there is the one thing I really like about Shark Tank is sort of the micro mentorship in just the moment. People get a lot of good feedback if they listen to the sharks. So like on the episode I watched last night, he was saying to somebody, no, I don't think you should go into retail. And instead of like mentoring that moment, he was like, you're an idiot. You're going to go out of business. You're going to die. I wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole because you shouldn't go into retail. When everybody else and himself had acknowledged this person had accomplished amazing things. If he had just said, I would invest in you, but we need to look at a different path. If you're interested in hearing that, let's talk. If not, I'm out. No, it had to be this belittling, go again. I'll just use Gordon Ramsay. Let me throw a pan and call somebody a donkey. Like that's that's not cool. So I don't like that.
Not just that it represents like that industry, but it represents like a way of being successful. Like you've got to be this certain kind of I don't know, headstrong. Bombastic. Is there another word that we can use? Because I feel kind of silly using the word bombastic. It's like aggressive, like
right, yeah.
Like this is
antagonist,
and let me throw you off your guard. So that's the way that you need to be in order to be successful. And I mean, I think you see that everywhere. And I think, and now what's interesting is that it's a caricature, or it's a character that you create, and sometimes it works. Sometimes it does work.
Well, and I guess that's the other part too. I hate that that's the model that people latch onto. They go, oh, this is how you get successful. No, it's how that one dude got successful. It's how that one, viral person that none of us really want to be. That's how they got successful. That's how
and you wonder
did it.
And you wonder if it's actually how they got successful, or is it how they got fame? And then it's because it's a character. Right. You go, okay, well, that's what got him to where he is.
That's really, that's a good distinction, because I would say both of those guys, and I do think they're probably gentlemen. Both those gentlemen were well-respected, expert level resources in their industries, and that's why they were built around in the first place. And then somewhere became the shift where all of a sudden they got to act like Ric Flair versus just being themselves,
I would love to work for Ric Flair.
Oh my gosh. I have had a chance to meet him a couple times. It's like the service industry is fantastic, man. You get to meet some real, speaking of caricatures, holy cow. But that's we can do a whole show on Ric Flair. But back to this, and I think people mistake it. And I actually not only think it's a mistake, I think it's one of the very worst things that people could do is go, you know what? I know how I'll succeed. I'm going to go be there's like a word I'm thinking of that we throw around a lot. It's not really appropriate for this show, but I'm going to go be and blank and fill that in. And that's how I'm going to go get attention. And when you act like that word, you get treated like that word, and big surprise, your business, unless you're in the business of just pure entertainment and clicks, your business goes kind of south if you behave that way.
I'm trying to think of the word that you're thinking of, but there's so many words that come to mind.
Well, you can fill it. It's really like a Mad Lib. If you but if you were to call somebody an unbecoming body part, maybe that's the first thing.
Okay.
Of which there's a few of those too. You could choose any of those, really.
This is but I think when you move into any kind of leadership position, there comes a time where you realize that you're being watched a lot. Like you go from an individual contributor into a management position, and then you realize like people are watching you and watching your behavior and watching, when you take a break, when you leave, when you arrive, and they model themselves after
that's true.
Your behavior. And I think when you realize that, sometimes you could lean into it. You could go, well, if they're basing their own behavior off what I'm doing, well, okay, I'm gonna first of all, I'm not going to show myself completely because I don't want them to know that. But maybe I'll create a character so that I can make sure that they're doing what I want them to do.
There's always a little bit of a mask. Like it used to crack me up because like a lot of times I worked in small towns or smaller communities where these private clubs are. And my staff would see me like on an off day in a grocery store, and they're like, "Oh, you're not wearing your suit." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm buying, cookies and beer. I wear jeans.
Come on, man.
I wear jeans and a t-shirt when I do that.
You gotta wear your suit to get that."
Yeah, but I mean, they're totally taken aback because, on that stage of work, that was the image and the mask that I wore. And I do want to differentiate one thing. Jim made a good point here of there are people in our community to do that. And I think he's probably hinting at certain people, but I'm not going to put words in his mouth. If somebody is selling entertainment, fine, be whatever caricature you want to be. That's part of the deal. If I'm trying to sell a product that has nothing to do with that character, it's when those worlds collide that people get themselves in trouble. If you want to be Jerry Springer, be Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer sold nothing but entertainment, views, and clicks before clicks were a thing. It wasn't for me, but that worked for him. But he wasn't like, "Hey, I'm an expert at, these wonderful, these incredible widgets that I'm an expert at. And now I'm going to be a jerk to sell them." That's two different things. And there is some of that in our industry as well. And I don't even think he was a jerk. I think it was a joke that he was in on. And if you ever read interviews with Jerry Springer, like, he laughed. He's like, "This whole thing is me laughing at the absurdity of myself and the world around us," which he could have portrayed in a better way, blah, blah, blah. But that's the difference of like, it's when those two worlds collide. If you want to be Logan Paul and not sell anything, but you're an experience with Logan Paul, that's fine. But if I'm trying to portray myself as an expert in restaurant consulting or ball python sales, I need to build trust in myself, not walls around myself.
Yeah. Troy makes a good point here too. And like sometimes the loudest voices get the most attention, and they're loud because they're being aggressive, and really, like, when you look at like there is most like top executives, there is a personal humility to them that is, I need the best kind of people around me because I don't know everything. That's the best kind of
a vulnerable leader. Yeah.
Executive. Yes. Yeah. And so they have that now they have that drive. There's a certain particular drive. So there's a professional will, but there's a personal humility as well. So those two combinations, they create, level 5 leaders. That's what Jim Collins would call them, level 5 leaders. But a part of that is that humility where it's like, yeah, I need people around me that know things that I don't. So I've got to make sure that that they're around me, and I have that humility, and I can ask those questions and everything. But what is portrayed most of the time is that, there's a headstrong, aggressive executive that is leading this company into the future,
Well, and Troy does bring up a good point. The vocal minority is the one that we usually hear the most of, and that is the loudest. And that's always going to be the case. They're always going to be there. I would caution people from making that their business model or their outlook kind of thing. Because it's really easy to latch onto that. It's really easy to go, holy cow, look at all the clicks. Like sometimes you don't want certain kinds of attention. All those clicks aren't good for you. Not any publicity is good publicity. So that really was kind of my thought. And then, like I say, the things that I'm closest to are the things that I get the most sensitive about. Like I want to see this world, this hobby, this business work, and we have enough headwinds against us that we don't need ourselves shooting each other in the foot kind of thing. And that's not this super like rah, let's all be positive. We can have conflict and challenge and all of that. Right. We don't need to create it ourselves though, right. And man, we do. But so that got me thinking when I saw Kevin O'Leary, and I think about Gordon Ramsay, and then I think about a 19-year-old culinary school student coming in thinking that that's what he needs to portray or she needs to portray to be successful. And I'm like, you're out of your mind, kid. Like, let's break this down here, because for all the things you're talking about, to be a great leader or a great chef, you can't, that's just never, you can't exude that stuff. That's not going to work.
Yeah. So, this is, I think this is a larger conversation too, about like, okay, if this is not the way to proceed, and maybe it is a character, so what are the things that we should be focusing on, and the way that we should behave, and the way that we actually drive people in a different way instead of throwing a pan across the room. You need to inspire them in some way, to figure out how do you enlist people and inspire them,
Well, that's from a leadership standpoint, but a lot of us are sole proprietors, 1 or 2 person shows where there's not necessarily a leadership component. And to those people, I would say that there's no shortcuts. It's processes, it's consistency, it's consistent, reproducible results. I will tell you, behind the scenes. Now, this has been, I started, next year in September will be 30 years ago. I started in Ruby Tuesday, September 7th, 1996. And in those days, in every kitchen in Ruby Tuesday was a sign that you walked under when you walked back out into the dining room. And it said, without consistency, there cannot be quality, or quality doesn't exist, or something along those lines. There is no quality without consistency. So you can't just do something good once. That's an incident.
Mm-hmm.
Doing something good over and over and reproducing that excellent result, that is quality. And that takes time. And that's what brings all the stuff that you want, not the one viral moment of you, pretending you're Ric Flair cutting a promo. Because God forbid, in the long run, God forbid, that's what people remember you for. But you've been putting all the work into something that actually matters, but they remember you for that one stupid thing. That's the worst outcome that could come from it, So when you say what should people do instead, it's not nearly as glamorous. Do the work, try and learn, be vulnerable is a weird word because it sounds weak. It's not. Like, sit here on a show, build a world or a community around you where you go, hey, who could teach me something? Who can I interact with today?
Well, I think you, for genuine humility, you actually have to have some confidence.
That's
true. Because I think if you don't, if you're just like, I don't know all the time, then you don't know what you bring to the table, then you are going to put up a front, because you want to convince people that you know things and that you're the best. But if you are self-aware and you know what you bring to the table, and you are confident that whatever team that you are on or whatever team that you're leading needs your expertise, then you can go, okay, I'm here, I'm bringing this, which is really important, but I don't have everything. So I can be humble and I can go, what do we need? Let's bring it on. Let's give people other responsibilities. Let's delegate a little bit and say, okay, bring your expertise to this as well. And I think that's what good leaders do to create a great team.
Well, and you get buy-in at that point, then you get people caring about what they're doing and finding, feeling value in their piece, all the things, you know, and all the management books start happening at that point. So, well, there we go, Joe. We made it. We got through another Thursday morning. I'll keep my eye out for derelicts and ne'er-do-wells at the old car wash, and I'll keep everybody posted.
And Troy's got a great point. 15 minutes of lane begins in 1 week. And I got to tell you, when I saw that some stuff from some Chris on Instagram, I was just happy that he was posting. So it was great. Yeah,
like a 7-year cicada. He's about to emerge and make some noise, man. That was pretty good, actually. I might have to recut that.
We had some good metaphors today.
Might have to recut that promo for.
All right, dude. Thanks so much for this morning chat. Thanks so much. Great talk this morning. Appreciate it. Have a great week, everybody. Oh, and Thanksgiving is next week. We got to make a decision about that.
We do need to make a decision about that. Do we want to do Wednesday morning?
We could. Yeah, we could.
Does that work for you? Do we do audience? Do we do special holiday version on Wednesday? Every Thursday, every Thanksgiving, we go through this, Joe.
I don't know. What have we done last 2 Thanksgivings?
I don't know. You'd think that we'll be ready on the next one. I'll tell you that. How about Wednesday? You want to do it Wednesday?
Yeah, we could do it Wednesday, I think. Yeah.
Okay, Tuesday night, Proper Royals Live. Wednesday morning, Proper Cup of Joe. Just back to back, get it done, and then
boom, bang, bang.
Off to Thanksgiving. Yeah, guys. All right, we'll do that. We'll see you next Wednesday. You don't even have to wait a week. We're coming back in 6 days then.
Yep. Take it easy, everybody.
Adios.